Coming up in Our News Weekend, weekend lockdowns lifted, the latest from the Prime Minister. The Northwest Bahamas remains under tropical storm warning as Ada passes by. Plus, another oil dumping site found on Grand Bahama.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, the weekend edition, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joachim. Topping news tonight, the 24-hour weekend lockdowns on New Providence and Abaco have been lifted. During a national address this evening, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced a new weekend curfew from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m.
The weekday curfew will move from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. And this 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew will also apply to Grand Bahama on weekdays and at the weekends.
The retail sector, including pharmacies, may resume indoor services Mondays through Saturdays. On Saturdays, food stores are allowed to be open to the public and allowed to restock on Sundays.
Outdoor dining may resume at restaurants and at fish fries Monday to Saturday. On Sunday, only drive-through and takeaway services will be permitted. At hotels, indoor dining may also resume. Beaches and parks will now be open on Saturdays and Sundays from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Beaches and parks will be closely monitored by the COVID-19 unit. Still, no decision has been made on the reopening of gyms and spas. Minnis said the country is making progress in the fight against COVID-19 and urged Bahamians to continue to follow the protocol and adhere to restrictions put in place so as to probably have a good Christmas.
I thank you, the Bahamian people, for complying with the rules. As we emerge out of the second wave, let us cautiously be optimistic and let us continue to be careful. We are opening up, but if we stop following the public health advice, virus cases will increase again, and we may end up back under restrictions.
Well, after health officials noticed an increase in cases on the island of Eleuthera, the Prime Minister announced a number of new restrictive measures for residents of that island. One of them includes a 24-hour weekend curfew beginning 6 p.m. Fridays and ending 5 a.m. on Mondays.
The Royal Bahamas Defense Force is on alert and in place to ensure that vessels do not flee Eleuthera in violation of this order. Additional police resources have been deployed to ensure enforcement of measures put in place to protect the residents in Eleuthera.
Health officials have also noticed a number of cases tracing back to local bars on that island. So now, all bars and restaurants connected to bars have been ordered shut. Indoor church services are prohibited as well as including face-to-face learning.
Funerals are to be a maximum of 10 people at the graveside, excluding the officiants and caretakers. Weddings are to be a maximum of 10 people, excluding the officiants. Receptions and repasts are both prohibited.
In other news, the Northwest Bahamas remains under tropical storm warning as Ada makes its way west of Andros. Those in Andros, New Providence, and the Berry Islands are experiencing widespread rain showers, scattered thunderstorms, and winds gusting at tropical storm force. It's projected there could be some 8 to 12 inches of rain, with most of it over Andros and the Berry Islands. Air traffic services at Lynden Pinding International Airport suspended at noon today and are expected to resume tomorrow at 7 a.m. as a result. Over in West End, Grand Bahama, the strong winds didn't stop some from getting their conch salad fix, and the sea was certainly raging. Now, we spoke with North Andros and the Berry Islands Member of Parliament Carlton Bowleg earlier today, who lives on that island and is riding out the storm there.
The weather right now is increasing again. We have been on and off since yesterday with gust winds and rain, but now it's coming back down again, and it's blowing about 30 to 35 miles per hour right now, and yeah, we got some good squall coming in right now. It's been okay. We're well aware of what's going on here, and everyone has their guards up. I'm gonna take a ride out in Losang in a little bit to see how the storm is treating the residents down there, seeing that is a low-lying area also. But everyone is well prepared for this. We know exactly what we have to do, and when we're doing it.
Another oil dumping site has been found on the island of Grand Bahama, this time off of Pinta Avenue in Freeport. Save the Bay's chairman Joe Darville was on site and looked on in disbelief at the large amount of oil floating in the area. He called it a disgrace that someone or a company could do such a thing, leaving major damage to the environment.
Now, when you pan and look around this area, it means that this oil has been here for an indefinite amount of time. It has already killed a lot of the vegetation up in that area, and circling all around, you could see all of the residual that emanates from oil that is refined. And if you were to look very closely, you would see multiple oil bottles, which means that this had to have come from some garage or some place where they do operations and repairs on vehicles. This is actually oil and water mixed, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches deep with oil mixed with water.
Fortunately, we have a limestone base that would perhaps filter some of this poison from going into our water table. So that is something that God put in place to help save us. But again, right now I'm at a loss for words. That's tough to say, but I'm at a loss for words. And thank God we decided to pick this location or nearby location to put our garden, our community garden, as a part of our backyard farming initiative. And in doing such, our team discovered this disgusting site.
Well, the site is definitely one to see, with empty oil bottles scattered about, which State Minister for Disaster Preparedness Management and Reconstruction, Iram Lewis, hopes can serve as a lead to catch the culprits.
And there's a main thoroughfare, Pinta Avenue is right there. There's a service road here that goes into Bahamian Services, and they perhaps could have come in through the entrance of the main road of Pinta Avenue, but of course there are a lot of evidence around. Tire marks, there's some bottles. I'm sure there's some markings. There's some evidence here that the police can use to build a case from. So hopefully they would have been careless enough to leave something here where the authorities upon investigation can, yes, I'm track them down. But
this is hazardous to the health of people. We're probably going to get a little bellyache or a headache from the smell here. It's powerful. The smell is reprehensible. In fact, when we came in there with 35 yards, we could smell the stuff coming from this area. And so I'm glad the minister has spoken to this, because this is something that we cannot tolerate in our beautiful island.
This segment was sponsored by Our Islands, Our Future, who remind you to sign the petition on their website, ourislandsourfuture.org, to stop oil drilling in the Bahamas.
The November 1st reopening of the tourism sector and subsequent plans for reopening of hotels is not an easy feat, according to one industry expert. Downtown NASA Partnership Managing Director Ed Fields says from controlling the spread of the virus to ensuring protocols is followed, the process is complicated.
There are so many variables that it is a very difficult thing to do. And we've seen how, businesses have opened up. Many businesses have opened up, and within a couple of days or a couple of weeks, they have to close down because 2 or 3 people in their organization had tested positive. It is very complex.
Bahamar and Atlanta's Paradise Island have both announced their plans to begin a phased reopening next month, welcoming guests to enjoy the resort within a bubble of sorts. However, Bahamar has said employees will go home daily but be tested weekly. Field says this somewhat complicates things.
The problem is, of course, is that you also have thousands and thousands of employees who have to interact with our visitors. And the concern is, in my view, not so much now as visitors giving COVID to Bahamians, but more the reverse, and also Bahamians in a more, congregant environment, i.e. lots of employees going back to work at the same time, giving it to each other, and hence creating more community spread. I was on a call yesterday where, it was voiced that one of the really big concerns is that when people go back to work, what they're finding is that people then, after work, go to, places where they can congregate and hang out and have a couple of beers, et cetera, and hence the cycle starts again.
Fields' comments came while appearing on the Our TV show On the Record with host Jerome Sawyer. As for whether he feels there is confidence that there can be control of the virus with this go at reopening, Fields says he hopes lessons were learned from the first attempt at reopening in July.
The error that was made, and it caused a lot of emotional response to it, was that the testing or the lack of testing for people who went, Bahamians who went to places within 72 hours, that's where it was traced from. I'm not, we don't need to revisit that because those cases may have gone past. But the reality is the people who were tested showed very low to zero prevalence of any signs of positive testing.
In tonight's Sunday feature, a young hotel worker turned a hobby into a successful business during the pandemic. Jared Higgs has a story.
Patrico Baisden had to think quick when hotels closed back in March, leaving him unemployed.
Things got a little rough due to hotel closing, so I decided to say, you know what, I got to step up and find some sort of income.
The 23-year-old worked in the beverage department of a major hotel, but he had some other skills in his back pocket.
And I said, you know what, let me try the jewelry.
That was the start of Baisden's jewelry cleaning. It's something Baisden picked up from his grandfather and father and normally did for friends and family free of charge.
I started elevating from just a toothbrush and right jewelry cleaner to the machines and molding clays and all that stuff, and went up the ladder from there.
Baisden wants to become a certified bench jeweler. That'll prepare him to handle repairs, maintenance, and enhancements. His real passion, though, is teaching.
The biggest ambition for me will be able to start a jewelry class, because that's what it will be very needed. You know what I mean? It'll be much needed.
Baisden is an avid junkaneur who says he's motivated by his family. He says there were some hardships growing up, and he lost 2 friends to gun violence. He says he understands the importance of being a positive role model in his community.
It's never too late to change. It's never too late to change. We all suffer sometime in our lives where we had bad influences or even chose the wrong path, but it's never too late to change.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right, thanks, Jared. Still to come, Grand Bahama businesses giving back. Stay tuned.
When you thought the year would end draft, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Cheer. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis says the recent announcement that Bahamar will begin a phased reopening next month is welcome news.
Well, we welcome the opening of all the hotels as soon as they can.
Bahamar will begin a phased reopening beginning December 17th and will bring back 1,500 associates for the first phase. Bahamar is the second major resort to announce it would reopen its doors in December. Atlantis is set to welcome back guests in a bubble environment on December 1st. Davis says while it's good to get the resorts reopened, the priority should be to ensure it's done safely.
Let's make sure that it's open safely and wisely. And let us also remember that the workers in these places are Bahamians, and we have to ensure that they are protected.
When our news comes back from the break, Grand Bahama businesses giving back. Plus, who gave us our quote of the week? Stay tuned.
As students and educators transition to e-learning, we know that there are families across the nation feeling left behind. High-speed internet is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity for all. A community response is needed to bridge the gap. The Cable Bahamas Group of Companies and the Rotary Clubs of the Bahamas are leading the way. Support the Rotary fundraising campaign. Give the gift of connectivity.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. A pretty big donation for a community in need. Grand Bahama Power Company and Rotary donating building materials to Rocky Creek residents still in the process of rebuilding more than a year after Hurricane Dorian. James Sarles, who is a member of Grand Bahama's Rotary Disaster Relief Committee, says it's just a part of their continued effort to rebuild on that island.
Today, through GB Power's contributions, we're at Third Dimension. Cliff Bowe, past president of Rotary Club, who's been instrumental out there, has visited every house figuring out what do they need now to get their lives back together. And that's basically rebuilding the roofs and sheetrock and plywood and everything they need to get going. We're Rotary, we're a service club of action. We got it all done. Houses needed to be mucked and gutted. We've got a team of Sea Grape, which are these men who we put together a team out of 8 Mile Rock, and they become our muck and gut experts. So they're in there mucking and gutting, and then we're mold remediating. So it's just action. And I have to say, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's been very rewarding.
Frederick and Felicia Black of Third Dimension says it's been great working along with Rotary in bringing relief and assistance to the many residents still reeling from the effects of Dorian.
So I must say to you guys, then, keep up the good works, because without you all, we don't know where Freeport would have been, how Freeport would have been lagged behind. And I must pump in something in for me, because listen, I'm here with you guys then, trying to do my best.
Well, Rocky Creek residents were certainly grateful for the donation.
I don't know what to say, but I thank them for everything. Rotary, the power company, who on the wall with it, I thank them from the bottom of my heart, and God will bless them.
So Rocky Creek is gonna be back. Even my brother house making me know now that Rocky Creek is gonna be back, because this is one of the first house now I would build. And I'm living in 2 bedrooms, little something, until we get a better structure. So God is good. And I'm happy and happy.
Oh my God, we really need it. We need the help. The houses, we really need it. Because I have a house and I need help. And they is here today. You know, long as you pray and you give God thanks, He's going to send help. And they're here today to assist us with our materials, to get back and to be comfortable.
A Grand Bahama-based company is looking to inject $20,000 into communities on that island through donations and contributions. Falco Limited celebrating 10 years with a full schedule set to begin this month.
Some of the things we're going to be doing is giving back. One of the associations we're going to be donating to is the Diabetes Association. They also are celebrating the Diabetes Month. We also will be giving a donation to Summer's mom. She is a producer of lip gloss, and she's using that as a give back to special needs children.
Falco President Glenette Fowler says their mission is to enrich the lives of their clients and community through exceptional service and charity. As one of Grand Bahama's more prominent import-export businesses on Abaco and Grand Bahama, Fowler says they want to ensure the community that they're there to help rebuild.
We will have discounts all month long, whether you shop at Falco Import-Export for shipping goods or for the hardware center with our lumber and building materials department. So we're really excited to give back, but also to celebrate such a milestone with our theme, People, Places, and Progress.
Who gave us our quote of the week? That's coming up when Our News returns.
Journey TV presents the most open, honest, and revealing life stories. These stories of survival and strength will inspire you because there is freedom and healing in every story. Join me and my guest every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. and Sunday at 5:30 p.m. during the month of August on RTV channel 212 for real life conversations. Journey TV, we share life's truths.
We've come to that part of our news where we take a look back at some of the more memorable quotes of the week. In at number 3 is former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, who expressed disappointment in the Minutes administration for not seeing to it that former Cabinet Minister Darrell Roll be given a proper funeral inside a church. Ingram called it inconsiderate.
I think it is very wrong and inconsiderate of the government not to permit former Minister Darrell Roll's funeral to be held in a church, St. John's Church, where he attended. He gave distinguished service to the Bahamas over many years. In fact, his first election in 1971 helped to change the course of history in this country, because it was the time when the Free PLP ran and the UBP ran, and after the election results came out, they were able to get together and form the F&M.
Number 2 comes from Grand Bahama resident Anthony Feaster, who shared his story of surviving a shark attack while fishing last week.
I remember pulling my hand. When I using this hand, I hit him a couple times in the head, and I pulled my hand out of his mouth. You know, with that clamp on, I pulled it out. That's why the skin tear like so, and so everything is shredded like that. But you know, if I didn't pull it out of his mouth, I most likely I wouldn't be here right now.
But our quote of the week came from Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who explained that after months of being stuck inside for holidays, Bahamians can have a good Christmas if numbers continue to drop and people abide by restrictions.
What I would ask is that if everybody remain compliant and cooperative in terms of the mitigation processes or protocols that are put in place, if we were to do that, then the numbers would continue to come down and maybe we can have a good Christmas moving forward.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the go, the Go Play app. Have a good Sunday evening, Bahamas.